Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Just Talking About Sports. I'm Ethan.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Michael.
And Michael, what are we doing today?
Well, I think today we are just talking about sports, actually.
Thank you. An interesting intro right there. And today we are rolling out the videos. This is our third college basketball conference championship tournament video. Wow, whole lot of words for a whole lot of conferences that we're going to be covering. And we're going to be doing 4 more today as more games are starting on coming up this Thursday and Friday. We're going to be covering 4 conferences. That is the West Coast, the Missouri Valley, the Southern Conference, and the Sun Belt. The West Coast and Missouri Valley start Thursday, and the Southern Conference and Sun Belt start Friday. So because we're going to have 4 conferences, we got to be talking a lot about them. We'll just get right into it and start off with the Western Conference. Or West Coast Conference, excuse me. And this is going to be an interesting conference because obviously it holds the #1 team in the nation, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and then a whole bunch of everybody else's. And I know we've compared Goliaths to everybody else, but this one is a little bit more than a Goliath compared to everybody else. I think a whole step above that. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on the West Coast Conference, and who do you have winning?
That's not the second part is not a question. The first part is, what am I expecting from this conference? And, well, complete and utter domination. Gonzaga's cupcake schedule continues and will conclude with playing nobody. Sorry to BYU. I know you're a decent program. You have nothing on Gonzaga. Loyola Marymount, you play them well for a half and then pretty much just decided, yeah, I don't feel like it. So Gonzaga is going to run with this conference. If anybody stops them, and I mean anybody, to me, it's going to be Eli Scott and Loyola Marymount who make a run. Unless that happens, I do not see any chance at all of anybody making a run in this conference. I think BYU can make something happen if need be, but the only place they're getting is the championship of this conference. They're not going anywhere. Gonzaga has won 21 straight games by double digits. Majority of them have come against this conference, and that will continue. It's complete domination by Corey Kispert and Drew Timme, who will likely end up being the WCC Player of the Year for Gonzaga.
Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is Gonzaga's conference to lose. They're going to win it. They're going to win it easy, frankly. I mean, we've said enough about Gonzaga. We don't have to say anything else. They're going to win it. I'm going to pick Gonzaga to beat Pepperdine, though, because I think Pepperdine, it's Colby Ross's senior year. He's probably gone after this. He's going pro. He's 5th in the nation in assists. He's the best player that program's ever seen. I think he puts on a little run, has a couple games, and then they fall to Gonzaga in the championship. It's Gonzaga's to lose.
Colby Ross definitely going to make all WCC team for
sure.
For sure. He's playing absolutely dominant for them, but I don't know how far they're going to go.
All right. And then for me, I mean, is it even really a question? Gonzaga's got it in the bag, and there's not much else to add. This team is on a 24-game winning streak. The next closest team has a 11-game winning streak. You could see the differences between Gonzaga and everybody else in this college basketball season so far. Although they have played not many high-ranked teams, especially with their cupcake schedule in their conference, like you said. But I think BYU will go face them in the championship. I think it'll be a closer game than some people think between BYU and Gonzaga, because Gonzaga hasn't really played anybody of stature in a very long time. But it'll be a sure good one to watch, and I think Gonzaga will be able to take it very easily. Very, very easily. That's the #1 team in the nation right there. So, all right, that ends our West Coast Conference discussion, and we'll move on to in my opinion, one of my most fun, or in my opinion, my favorite mid-major conferences to look over. This is one we've been mentioning in the AP poll every once in a while. This is one we love to look into. This is the Missouri Valley Conference. The Loyola Chicago Ramblers are right now ranked 20th, and Drake at one point was also ranked, but they've been right behind them. Missouri State and Indiana State are right behind them, and then everybody else I don't care about, because they're not going to really have an impact, except for maybe Bradley, because we never know with Arch Madness. But for everybody else, it's going to be an interesting conference. Arch Madness is it is in the tournament name, because the #1 seed has not really won the conference in a very, very long time, because of all the craziness that happens every single year. But I think Loyola and Drake, they've made their statements this year. We could see maybe 2 and maybe even 3 if we get lucky, Missouri Valley teams. I don't know. That's a little stretch there, but it's going to be an interesting conference. So Matt, Who do you have winning the my favorite mid-major conference?
I think it's definitely mine too. Let's make this clear. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Arch Madness, where literally nothing goes right. And it's not going to happen this year either. Drake, to me, has killed any chance of an auto bid at this point in time after another loss to, I believe it was actually Bradley. I believe Drake has killed any chance of them getting an auto bid. They will now need to win this conference in order to get into the tournament. I do not believe they get in any other way. Missouri State, struggling down the stretch. I don't think they have a chance. Indiana State, I think Evansville gets them first round. And Loyola, you're on fire, but you haven't looked great doing it. So a lot of these teams not looking great right now in the Mizzou Valley. More of a balance. Watch out, Drake. This is their time. Every year, they always seem to make that jump right at March. Boom. I think it happens again. And I think Drake wins this conference over Loyola in the championship. And I don't know. I have a lot of confidence in Drake. I always have. They had an unbelievable season. One of the best in college basketball in terms of record. The way they were beating opponents early in the year was unrivaled. They were one of the final undefeated teams behind Gonzaga and Baylor, and they deserve their due credit. The issue is their struggles down the stretch and injuries down the stretch killed them. But this is their shot now. They will now play. They now have a first round bye. Well, granted, so does majority of this conference. But I believe that Loyola is in a stretch where you almost just lost to Southern Illinois, and Bradley is your tournament nightmare. They've won back-to-back years in this tournament, and for good reason. They've been incredibly dominant in it because they know how to play in the clutch, and that's a team that still this year does the same. But Drake has a pretty smooth bracket, knock on wood, because I don't want to be wrong. But I would say Drake's got a pretty smooth bracket going the way they do. I don't have any faith in Missouri State, but I do have a lot of faith in Indiana State / Evansville, possibly pulling off an upset on Loyola semifinal. I don't see that happening with Drake. I think Drake gets through to the championship no matter what, no matter who they play. I think they win.
Michael?
Yeah, I completely disagree with just about every single thing he said. So it's great that we get to talk it out. For Bradley, first of all, he mentioned Bradley. Right now, Elijah Childs, Danya Kingsby, and Terry Nolan, all remain suspended. So it's going to be hard for them to make a run. And for SIU, Marcus Domask, I think he's the guy that killed our Bulldogs this year, our Butler Bulldogs. We're not sure if he's going to be healthy or not. I think Loyola as a cruise walk to the final. I don't think Indiana State or Evansville can take him. Versus for Drake just lost their point guard Roman Penn recently, and Missouri State is a good team. Gage Prim and Isaiah Mosley are their two stars. They're a really good team. I think they're well coached. They've played really well this year. I think, and without Roman Penn, Hank Hemphill, maybe he plays, but we don't know how healthy he's going to be. I think the Missouri State Bears knock off Drake, but they don't take out Loyola. I got Loyola pretty comfortably. They're just the best team. They just are.
I'm thinking that with all this craziness, I mean, I can't take anybody but Loyola this year. I mean, it's been a long time since Loyola has, like, as a number one seed has won it, but I think how dominant they've been this year, I think Loyola's got it. I think there's going to be plenty of upsets in this conference. I think Bradley's going to go out and do their magic as they usually do and win a few games, maybe even knock off a Missouri State or a Drake. But I really think Loyola's going to be not versing Drake in the championship, as Michael said. I think there's going to be another team because I think Drake's going to fall to one of these teams because I'm a little scared because what Bradley already just knocked off Drake recently in their most recent games. So, I mean, who says they can't do it again, or another team can go and take advantage of their weaknesses that they've been having and go and win the game. So I have Loyola taking this conference as much as I love, or I'm going to enjoy watching all the craziness. I think Loyola is the most solid pick here.
If Bradley wants to take down Drake again, they're going to have to do it in the championship because Bradley has played so badly down the stretch. They are an 8 seed. They have to fight their way into the actual bracket itself. And guess who they would play in the first round? Loyola. Yeah. And so Here's the thing. The most obvious pick in this tournament every year never wins, which is why I'm taking Drake, because everybody else is going to forget that they exist. And with their only 3 losses, and granted, Campbell, they need him back. If he isn't back, they're screwed. But if he's back, and if Roman Penn can get back in time just for semifinals or finals, if need be, they're fine. That to me, Drake is the best all-arounded team if healthy.
All right. I'm loving it. I'm just enjoying. I just can't wait for it to start. Honestly, that's gonna be the one where at least me and Matt, maybe a little bit of Michael, we're gonna be looking really close into. So I am absolutely looking forward to that one. But that ends our games that are gonna be on Thursday. So now we're gonna be starting off the ones that are gonna be starting on Friday. First one that we're gonna be covering is the Southern Conference, the SoCon. This one's another one I also kind of pay a little bit into just because it has one of my teams I began to bandwagon thanks to March Madness. And that team is in second. We'll get to them in a second. But in first, we have the UNC Greensboro Spartans. They are 13-5. You got Wofford right behind them. That's my team right there. Storm Murphy's got the greatest name in basketball. Furman, they got Furman in third, and then Chattanooga in fourth, who was leading this conference at one point, and then they hit a struggle bus. But other than that, don't really care about them because I don't think any of the other teams are going to be able to knock off any other teams in this conference. So those are your top four, and you do say what you want for the rest of the conference. But Matt, who do you have in the SoCon?
This conference to me is always entertaining because you've got a lot of teams that always seem to make noise in the tournament. UNC Greensboro has consistently done it for years. Furman last year went on a crazy stretch in the beginning of the season, taking down some of the top teams in the country. Chattanooga is finally relevant again. And East Tennessee State is also a tournament team that always sneaks up on you. But no tournament team has been as good from this conference as the Terriers of Wofford have been. UNC Greensboro is an excellent program. They got a lot of very talented players. They don't have Storm Murphy, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have Storm. They don't have Storm Murphy. Averaging 18, 3, and 4. And for a point guard averaging 48% from the field, big element to their team. One of the most important factors. He is a senior. This is his last chance. It is literally Fletcher McGee's story 2.0, back a chance again. I think the Wofford, they've been on fire in the past 10 games. They are moving right now with consistency that we have not seen in a long time. I'm going to take Wofford.
Michael, your thoughts?
All right, so let's get one thing out of the way. Storm Murphy does have a great name. He's not a better player than Isaiah Miller. He's not on any planet, not on this planet, not on Mars, not on Jupiter, not anywhere. Isaiah Miller averages 19, 6, and 4, shooting 46% from the field, not shooting it as well. By the way, Isaiah Miller, 7th in the country in steals. He's just that good. He's Greensboro's best player. I don't like doubting Wes Miller. They started off slow. They've picked it back up. UNC Greensboro has. I'm not going to doubt Wes Miller. And I'm even going to take Wofford to lose to Furman. I think this Furman team's just better than them, plain and simple. They got a kid, Clay Mounts. That's an awesome name. Not as good as Storm Murphy. Clay Mounts is a great name. They got 4 guys in double figures. They're a good team. I'll take UNC Greensboro, the 1 seed again, to knock off the 3 seed Furman Paladins.
All right. For me, I think just logically looking at the rest of this conference, I think I have to stick with Matt and go with Wofford just because of how this has been looking. I know UNC Greensboro has been playing very, very well, and obviously Miller has been playing out of his darn mind. But I think because of how Wofford's been playing recently and the fact that they just did knock off Furman, I think was another reason why. And not only did they won by 1 point, show that they can come up clutch. And I think that's that clutch factor that Wofford's had that's going to be able to push them over the edge and let them make it to the championship. And they will most likely be facing the Spartans because I mean, if Furman, I think none of the other teams in this conference, Furman's got a shot, I will admit, but I think besides everybody else, I think it's going to be a 3-team race for this conference. And as in this 3-team race, I just really think Wofford's got it. And I'll stick with Matt and stick with my Terriers for the SoCon. So
my final point I wanted to add very quickly is Wofford, UNC Greensboro is led by Isaiah Miller. They don't even have anybody else averaging 10. Trey Hollowell, another senior from Hopkinsville, 12 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. Their lead 2 guard, get it done from anywhere. UNC Greensboro doesn't have that type of player. Basketball is not a one-on-one game. It's 5v5. And at the end of the day, Wofford's got the more balanced roster. That's why I picked the Terriers.
All right, so that's going to end our SoCon talk, and we're going to move into our final conference for this video. We are almost at like, I think, 12. We are into double digits of conferences talked about so far, which is crazy to think that we're already there, and we've got plenty more still to go and plenty more content still to go for conferences. So for our final conference, this one's going to be the Sun Belt Conference. This one's not really known for many great teams coming out of it. I think they're not going to be having a very high seed this year in terms of March Madness, but we'll see what they have in store. There's a 10-team conference. They are mixed into East and West, but the Bobcats of Texas State have been the most solid team here, followed by Louisiana. And then if you want to try and chuck in a South Alabama or Coastal Carolina, or maybe even a Georgia State. Georgia State hasn't played that many games, but I think the main two teams, Texas State, Louisiana, those are the top two in this league, or in this conference. I think have got a shot of getting it. But Matt, I'll let you start off with your picks before I get into mine, which I almost did. But Matt, who do you got in this conference?
This to me is once again a conference this year that is surprisingly struggling. Sun Belt, normally you get your good 13 or 14, you get your quality. Georgia State, bad COVID issues, lack of games, but they are 14-5 and on a 6-game winning streak heading in. And then there's Texas State, it's 12-3 in conference with an 18-6 record and a 7-game winning streak. To me, the Sun Belt is always led by Georgia State or by Troy, but Troy's having a down year. But I think this is finally the first year you get Texas State moving. Mason Harrell is averaging 14, 3 and 3, 47% from the field. He is only 5'9", but this kid's got some spunk. I think Texas State's got a lot going for them right now. Fantastic schedule with a lot in favor. They got a first-round bye. They got a lot moving. I think Texas State's ability to move the ball gets them to the March Madness tournament for the first time in a very long time.
Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia State, actually. I like this team a lot. I think their style is perfectly fit for a tournament run. They press. A Sun Belt tournament run, that is. They press. They get up in you. They got five guys scoring in double digits. They got DePaul transfer Justin Roberts. He's a really good player. Corey Allen's a really good player. Kane Williams. Those are three guards who will get up in you defensively, and they got the energy to last these couple days. And especially because I think their bracket kind of opens up for them. It's like a team, Georgia Southern, I think they take those guys. Then South Alabama is who I have them playing next personally. Michael Flowers is a great guard there, but I don't know. They run 7 guys. Georgia State will have the energy to keep up with those guys. I think they can handle them easily. And I think that's the Georgia State, Texas State, and I just got to trust the program Georgia State has. Texas State, credit to them. They had some offseason troubles. Interim head coach. He didn't even coach the last game. There was a video of the players showing up at his car. That video was awesome. If you haven't seen it, look it up. When they won the conference, that was awesome. But bad guys just come and get you in March. I got the Georgia State Panthers taking this conference.
All right. So for my pick, I'm a little worried about Texas State because as I was looking into them, I know they're 12-3, but guess what? Where their 3 losses came through, or 2. All of them against the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. Almost got completely swept by them. So that is their kryptonite. It looks like that Texas State has just been unable to beat them all season long. And in terms of one of those two teams make it from the West, I'm not really thinking it's going to be one of those two teams because I think it's going to be from the East. I think it's going to be Georgia State or one of my fun teams I wanted to honor, an honor mention of the Chanticleers. This is not college football we're talking about. This is college basketball. Why? Because they have a guy by the name of Devontae Jones. Dude is averaging 20.2 points. He's been one of the leader in steals as he's averaging 3 steals a game, and just an unbelievable player for this Coastal Carolina team. He's up there for, I believe, Defensive Player of the Year, at least in 4 mid-majors. So I think that Coastal is going to be one of those feisty teams that people are going to be beginning to forget about. Do I really want to pick them? I'm on the edge, but I think I have to stick with Georgia State and go with the Panthers here just because they've had more experience. They've been to March Madness more often. And I think if they make it, they'll be a 15 or 16 seed. But I think the fact that they'll be able to make it will be big for the program. And going back once again, I think Georgia State's got it. So that's pretty much it in terms of my thing. I just had to honorable mention Coastal Carolina. But that'll do it for our games for, I think we're now at 12. 11 conferences covered. Do the math. 20.
I think we have 20. I think it's actually 20 on the dot.
20 more to go. Holy moly. We have got a lot more conferences to cover. And we are excited because we've got plenty more to discuss and plenty more to share our opinions on and plenty more to share our picks on because we love sharing those as well. So stay tuned until then because there will be plenty more videos to come. And make sure you go and check out all our previous ones just to see who we got and we'll maybe get some more insight into March Madness because if you don't really know, we'll be here to help you guys out with that. So I think until next time, that'll do it for us. And until next time, we'll be here just talking about sports.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.